Hi guys, my name is Janice and I'm a musician. I'm pretty nervous right now. My heart is pounding against my skin. It's pretty annoying, really, I can't speak. 2 years ago I attended this conference as a student and I'm so lucky to have been invited back by Mr. Matthew Thomas, so thank you so much for this opportunity. Today what I'm going to talk to you about is creativity, its accessibility, and the importance of failure. First of all, I'm going to talk about songwriting as a creative outlet for me and how important that is to me. I write songs because it's how I express myself. Music is a realm where there are no real social boundaries, no status quos, no perceived images I feel the need to uphold. It's where I can write my deepest insecurities into my lyrics and weave all my instabilities along with that. Often I find myself limited in how well I can effectively communicate my feelings to others because inevitably there are barriers between each person, whether that be different perceptions, different interpretations, different genders, different cultures. But with songwriting, that's where I can put words and music together and make that into this sentimental package that when I give it to you, I'm hoping you're not only hearing the words like you are right now, but really feeling the words. And it's most magical when an audience can connect to your feelings, can connect to your experiences and draw meaning out of it. And that is connection at an incredible level, and that's why I keep writing. Now, how I came to discover this passion was 7 years ago when I was 12 years old, and I had a huge crush on this boy. He was in the guitar club. So don't tell my parents this, but I took out my piggy bank and spent most of my money to buy a guitar for this boy and to impress him and just to get closer to him. And this incredibly unremarkable and unmagical reason for why I had even begun this exploration of music is contrasted to what it has become for me today, which is something that I really need to maintain my emotional well-being, and you can ask my brother that. And this contrast, I think, is testament to what I'm trying to tell you today, and that is that creativity is not as inaccessible as we make it to be. When I was in high school, which was a few months ago, there was a lot of gender stereotypes, that too, sorry, something I'm obsessed about. But there was a lot of stereotypes about the artistic types, the creative types, and I mean it in the tangible form, that is the ones who went to art school, to film school, to music school. They're always talked about as being so talented and so unimaginably good, unimaginably talented, but I think that word talented is used way too much because what about all the hard work they have put into that? What about all that investment of time, of emotion into honing that skill over the years? Because often I think with creativity, that buzzword, we forget that there's so much hard work put into that. There's so much pushing through. And because of that, because it's held on this pedestal of being magical, full of talent, I think it's become something that's out of our comfort zones. And that's not what it really is. Creativity can be anything that you practice in your daily lives. And to this day, I still struggle with songwriting. There are emotional roller coasters that I'm thrust upon, where sometimes I completely doubt whether or not I can write that song. I run into roadblocks where there's a hard wall I'm banging my head against. But at the end of the day, it's about banging through those walls, and that's what creativity is. It's about practice, it's about guts, it's about practicing having guts. It's about stepping out of your comfort zone and being okay and accepting that everything might go wrong. And that's scary. That's scary for me. It's scary that you're putting everything that you are into this. It's scary that you're investing so much of yourself into it to open yourself up to what? To judgment, to failure. Even now, as I take a gap year, which is not even that unconventional, I have parents coming up to me asking me, are you still going to university? The other day, a lady who's known me since I was quite young, she says, Janice, what are you still doing here? Because I'm still working at my old school. And I say, yeah, I'm working. And she says, well, you're still going to university, right? I say, yes. And she says, well, you're not just going to study music, right? because I'm a headhunter, and I'd recommend that you study accounting or communication or business. And that lets me down. And that's what's scary about creativity. But in my gap year now, I'm working with 7-year-olds who are so wonderfully refreshing in that they don't even know they're being creative. You know, we just gave them an assignment to assess their knowledge on planets. They're 7, by the way. And they were told to create a planet. So these kids came up with planets made out of goo that had goo storms, planets made out of sushi that had sushi people that ate sushi and breathed sushi, which is a bit cannibalistic, I think. And planets that had 10 million moons. And time worked crazily on it. And you know what? Scientifically impossible, I think, but it's so wonderfully inspiring and refreshing because they're going into these projects with full conviction and full confidence in things that adults will look at and shun upon. You know, this kid drew a snake with a smiley face on it, and the teacher goes up to him and says, "Why is there a smiley face on the snake? What about that?" So that's what I take from these kids. You know, as I'm standing here, and as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at those that are sleeping. I'm looking at the raised eyebrows, the yawns, the eye rolls, the pursed lips, and those are the nuances of criticism that children don't know yet. And that's something awesome that I wish we had so that we wouldn't be so afraid of doing something new, trying something risky, stepping out of what's conventional, and doing something new. Well, I think that failure as well is incredibly important, and these kids look at failure as something they can brush off casually. They don't even know what it means. And if we can look at failure that way, if we can see it as a friend and not a foe, then I think that would make creativity and pursuits of new things much easier and much more accessible. Because failure is integral to success. You know, you've got to fail to get better. I love playing shows where there are very little people and they're all giving me blank stares and deadpan looks because I feel like it makes me stronger every time. You know, it makes me better at playing music and performing. So to sum it all up, why am I making the speech? So what? What is the meaning of this? Well, I think it's important to step out of the conveyor belt from time to time and question its pace, question its direction, put a foot on it maybe, and do things that you want to do, try new things, discover new boundaries and things about yourself, about the world. I think it's important because the reason every one of us is in this room right now and being able to experience this conference is because someone came up with that idea that was new, had it in their heads, worked with other people to bring it to reality. I think it's important because 2 years ago, when I was at this conference, I heard about a young man from India who had come up with this new way of bringing light to his village, a cheap way, because people were dying from snake bites at night. And that's why I think creativity is important. And I think it's important for every individual, for yourself, to discover yourself some more. Question your existence. Question your role in this world. Thank you. Now I'm going to perform. Is it too loud?
Yes.
Yeah. The haze of knowing nothing, feeling numb. Oh, it feels so good. Not an inkling, a hint of worrying going on. That's the love of hopes and dreams, flower-scented movie themes. Now there isn't anyone alive. All the Christmas trees are growing old, and there isn't any going back. Not now. started up. Mistakes, it's struggling, slipping to a 10, like the water in your hands. All my memories, things I thought were real, that's the love of hopes and dreams, flowers and in movie themes. Now there isn't any left of it. All that time has done is make it cold, and there isn't any going back. Not now, not now, not now, not now. I didn't see it then. I speak what I can't feel. What's for this heavy heart? I'm trying like to find a way to start it up. That dark, massive fight didn't exist when I was small, but now I've grown. And that is not to say I'm growing wise. Oh, haze, our friendship, it is full of lies, so time won't let you stay. No, time won't let us stay. And I'll keep wondering if it'd be wiser to just linger in the haze. Thank you so much, everyone.